Hello and welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen. Guys, today we're going to talk about Connor Goldson and what he's been saying to the press. And do we agree with that? And is he right in what he's got to say about where Rangers currently are in Scottish football and in terms of their journey back to being the top team in Scotland? Also, guys, remember, if you want daily Rangers news, if you want daily Rangers content, this is the only channel you get it from. You need to hit that sub, ring the notification, set it to all so you don't miss out on any of the daily videos. And remember to come and join us tonight for a podcast. It'll be just me tonight, and then Friday for Victoria and David Marshall from Heart and Hand. So, guys, please come and join. Like I said, anyway, to make sure you don't miss out, hit the sub, ring the notification, and obviously give this video a like, guys. And remember, we're not charging you for that service. It is completely free for you. Anyway, Rangers centre-half Connor Goldson has been speaking a little bit about where he thinks Rangers are currently and, a little bit about himself as well and his reflections on what he's achieved at Rangers and in his time at the club. So what's Goldson had to say? There's obviously three key quotes here I want to share with you, and three key quotes. God, it's not easy to say, guys. Three key quotes that I want to discuss with you about Connor Goldson, and I'd love to get your take on what Goldson's had to say. And is it a case, do you think, of Rangers players talking too much and not doing their talking on the park, doing it off the park too much? I know that some people have obviously levelled this at Tav in the past. Anyway, this is what Connor Goldson has had to say. He said, "Someone spoke to me the other day about the amount I've won. If you play X amount of games after 8 years, do I think I'll be classed as a legend or in the Hall of Fame? I haven't won enough, but at the same time, it goes hand in hand. And when I think back to the team I came here into without being disrespectful, where the club was and how far behind we were, we've come a hell of a long way. It's only in Scotland when we come second or lose a cup final, we forget how far we've come. I don't want to say this wrong because it will cause a bad headline, but when we have won, I think that we haven't pressed on, and that's everything as a club." So there's two key things in this quote here from Goldson for me that sort of stand out. Number one is the fact that, he reflects on the fact that as a club, Rangers have come an awful long way. And if you go back over the last 12 years, yes, we have, as a club, come an awful long way, rebuilding from pretty much nothing to obviously where we are today. Now that is certainly something to be proud of course it is. But then Goldson says, of course, that when you come second in the league in Scotland, or you don't win a cup, it's a big thing. It's a huge defeat because at the end of the day, there are two strong teams in this league. There are two main teams, the Glasgow Giants, Rangers and Celtic. And when you come second to Celtic, obviously it's not good enough for Rangers fans and obviously isn't seen as good enough. Connor Goldson has been here since 2018. He's been here like nearly 5 years now. And obviously, in that time, he's made 157 appearances, scoring 15 goals for the club. In his time here as well, he's won the Scottish Premiership, the Scottish Cup. He's been a Scottish League runner-up, a Europa League runner-up. So I think he's right in the fact that, we have come an awful long way. We are, moving on from where we were. We've reached a Europa League final. We've won the Scottish League title once. We've won the Scottish Cup. And, if you go back to the situation when we had to come right back from the bottom of Scottish football to where we are now, it is a hell of a long way. It's a hell of a long journey. Now, Goldson goes on to say, and it's that last quote that kind of stands out for me. He says he doesn't want to say it bad because he knows it will cause a bad headline. And I think this is the key thing, that you've got to be really careful what you say to the media. He says, "I think we haven't pressed on after we've won, and that's a key thing." And this is something that Rangers fans have been talking about for an awful long time, isn't it? That after 55, we really did fail to kick on. We really failed to, bring on the team, to develop, to bring in enough players, I think, to really push on and kick on to the next level. Now, obviously, there's lots of things happened along that journey since 55. I mean, Steven Gerrard left the club and, he left the club sort of mid-season. And realistically, I think if Gerrard stays, we probably win the league again. Maybe not go on the Europa League run that we went on, but we probably do win the league again as they were in a very strong position when Steven left. So, maybe there's that there. Obviously, they only brought in a couple of players at the end of that season, but maybe it needed more. And that's perhaps where the board have failed. And it's certainly something that has been levelled at the board in recent times by a group of our fans. Goldson went on to say this. He says, "As a club, we could have done more, and now we're back to square one. I get the whole frustration of the fans that we haven't kicked on after 55 and gone on to win 56 and 57. After the Scottish Cup final last season, we have to go and win it win it this year, or our season's maybe going to be no trophies. We got to a European final last season and lost, and the season after we are not top of the league. There are so many ups and downs that have happened. It's frustrating. I feel I should have won more. I think Goldson, in his comments here, is kind of right in a way. The fact that the club didn't kick on after 55, it kind of let Celtic catch back up. There was, I think, a feeling, wasn't there? When Ange Postecoglou took over at Celtic, that he didn't have any European experience. He'd only managed in Australia and Japan, and that he was going to struggle. And I think we kind of let them back into it, didn't we? In fact, we didn't invest. We didn't bring in the players. We kind of didn't kick on. I mean, obviously, part of that is the fact that Steven Gerrard left. I think that was a major, obviously, hit for the club. And I understand the frustration here. Whether or not we're back to square one, I think, perhaps he's putting that down to the fact we're 9 points behind. We're not going to win the league this season. And it's all down to the fact that, as he says there, it's down to the fact of winning the Scottish Cup this season. He talks about the fact that they went to a European final last season. Rangers beat some fantastic teams on the way to that European final: Borussia Dortmund, RB Leipzig, Red Star Belgrade. And I think there's a feeling that, when you're beating teams like that, you really should be dominating your own league. That, you compare Dortmund, you compare Leipzig with Celtic, and it's light years different. Dortmund are in a different galaxy, a different stratosphere to Celtic. And if Celtic were to play Dortmund, I would say Dortmund would absolutely smash them. But that's just, I suppose, how it is at this moment in time. I think Goldson is just kind of putting across his frustrations here, that the fact that he wanted to win more, that he believes we should have won more. And I think he's right, to some degree with what he has to say. Goldson goes on to say this. He says, I don't think we showed our best face in the cup final. We lost the game of football. It was a massive game of football for the club and our season, and we lost it. But you have to move forward, and we have to get the chance to play again. There's a lot of football to be played, but realistically, we have 3 old firms in the next 6 weeks. First is the league game, then there's the Scottish Cup semi-final, then the league again. We have 3 chances to win massive games of football for this club, this team, and our fans to build a confidence going into next season on a high. And I think Goldson is right with this comment. The fact that we have 3 games to play against them. And yes, I think realistically the league is gone. Even if we win the 2 games and it comes down to 3 points, I can't see Celtic slipping up again, and their goal difference is superior. But what it is about is laying down that signal. I've said this so many times. It's about laying a glove on them. It's about marking them. It's about letting them know that although this will not be the team they're going to be facing next season, given the summer and the revamp that is apparently going to take place at the club, there is I think a real need to send a signal to show that this club is still here, that it is to be taken seriously, and that it will not let Celtic just walk its way to the title and walk its way to a treble, and that we will win these last 3 games, and we have to win these last 3 games. Goldson, I think, is very correct in this, and I don't agree that we're back to square one. I don't think we're anywhere near back to square one. I think we're a long way down the road from that, and obviously, the revamp over the summer will certainly help that. Given the number of quality players we have in the team, the fact that we've brought in players like Tillman, like Raskin, like Cantwell, who obviously have taken this club forward. And I think we'll continue to take this club forward. And I think the new signings in the summer, whoever they may be, will also, take the club forward. So I don't agree that we're back to square one. I do believe we have regressed a little bit since 55, obviously, given the fact that we've failed to win 2 league titles that have followed on since then. And we've allowed them to obviously get away this season. But, Goldson, I suppose he's just showing his frustration, showing his ambition, showing the fact that he wants to win, that he wants to be a success here at Rangers, and he wants Rangers to go back to dominating Scottish football. Well, Rangers fans, I'd love to know what you think of what Connor Goldson has had to say in these comments. I've given you my view. I'd love to get your view. Thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. I'll be back to speak to you again really soon here on the channel. Guys, please keep coming back. Please keep coming back. Please hit that sub, ring that notification, and give this video a like.